Okay, here we are. Here we go. Sorry for the delay. Things look good. Hey, Bencho. Hi, hi. Things look good on my side, so let's just jump into it. Let's see what Usami is cooking, I guess. Usami hastily left the classroom after school. Wait up, Usami.
なんすか？急いでいるんですが。
Did you think of something just now?
ああ、そのことですか。
Hey there. She said this as if the thought had surfaced just now.
あ、そうだ。浅井さんに調べてもらった方が早いかな。
Investigate what?
気づいたんです。写真にあった書類の文字。
The letters on the document in the photo. Okay. Hey, Matchan. Hi, hi. Oh?
あれは英語ではなく、多分ラテン語か何かなんです。詳しく
Oh,
は知
yeah,
りません
yeah.
が
I remember. RP stuff. Okay, got it, got it. Latin, you say?
RP なんですがね。
Yep. That's Latin?
栄一さんがドイツ語とか言ったので、一瞬ドイツ語かなとか思った時にピンときました。今日は風邪で欠席が多いみたいですしね。
I suddenly got. Wait, what? What does that have to do with people being sick and out of school? Are they medical records?
おそ
Oh.
らくその類です。病院でお医者様がよく RP と書いているのを目にしてたので、それを思い出しました。
No. Do you know Latin? Because you're Roman too, in some capacity, Bancho. What does it mean?
確か処方するとかそういう意味らしいです。
I see. I don't know what RP means. But wait. Hey, Usami. When we looked at that picture, didn't we decide all the other characters in the document were Roman too?
はい。カルテなんじゃないかなと疑って読むと、他にドイツ語で血液という単語を拾えなくもなかったです。
This girl knows German, huh? Though it might be German, I've heard that there are relatively few doctors who actually use German to take records. Apparently they usually use Japanese or English.
はい。カルテにしては日本語が少しも混じっていないのがおかしいとも思いました。
Ah, that's cute. We don't have that great of a claim though. Like I think the country with the best claim is Italy. But, she adjusted her hair.
ただですね、お年を召した開業医の方の中には稀にいらっしゃるんだそうです。
Oh, right. Then an old abandoned hospital would make sense.
調べやすいと思いませんか？
Hiroaki-kun is imprisoned in an abandoned hospital. We can narrow it down a lot, huh?
はい。病院と分かっただけでもかなりの収穫です。
We should investigate quickly. I doubt there will be that many abandoned hospitals, so we might find it right
昨
away.
日みたいに立ち入りの許可もお願いしていいですかね？自分も調べてみますので。
Permission to enter. If only you knew. I guess ignorance is bliss. What we don't know can hurt us. Wait a second. I stopped Usami before she could dart off. What Tsubaki said to you just now, doesn't it bother you?
もう関わらないでほしいと言われましたね。
Yeah, it looks like Tsubaki's feelings got a little out of control.
気にはしていません。せめて椿たちが警察を頼るまでの間は自分なりに調べてみようと思っています。それでは。
She ran briskly down the hallway. I should probably get home. Maybe I caught the flu. My head is aching a bit. Even so, that was an impressive find. Not bad, Usami. Feeling a bit dizzy, I placed my palm tightly against my forehead. Yeah, the flu, that's what he's got. For sure. I received a phone call from Mr. Somaya while walking unsteadily through the crowd. It was nothing.
三輪という一家がついに折れてくれたらしく、計画はまた軌道に乗り始めたそうだ。
That's good to hear.
君がどんな手口を使ったのかはわざわざとうまい。何にせよ礼を言う。さすがは魔王といったところか。
Somaya was quite pleased. No, I should be the one thanking you. I really appreciate you lending that place to me.
東区の廃墟か
Just as you had stated, even the gangs and the homeless wouldn't go near there. It's really a wonderful place.
あの病院跡は警備会社の人間をたまに巡回させているからね。
I see. Is that all for today?
その廃墟の件だがね。
What is it?
担当の人間から偶然耳にしたんだが、ついさっき立ち入りの許可を求められたらしい。
Ooh.
さあ、警察の人間ではなさそうだったらしいがね。
Did they leave a
こ
name?
っちが山王物産だと知って尻込みしたらしいな。だから当然、立ち入りの許可は出。
Thanks for the heads up. I'll contact you again soon. I hung up and sank into thought. Was it Usami? If it was, her investigation is proceeding faster than predicted. The pictures might have been too much of a hint. If all I wanted to do was inform the family of Hiroaki's safety, I could have just put the phone up to him. There was no need to go out of my way to send a photo of where the hostage was kept. Yeah, why did you do it? There was no doubt that Usami would try to find Hiroaki's whereabouts through the photo. However, my true aim lies elsewhere. They won't find the hostage even when they search the hospital. This marks Usami's second major mistake, the first being the fiasco with the ransom. And this will eventually fuel the flames of strife between Usami and Tsubaki. Ah, we cannot escape strife. Even in this novel. Alright. That's why I sent her the photo. Helping the Sano Corporation with this troublesome land acquisition trifle might be the main goal of this kidnapping, but that's not the full extent of my motives. Usami Haru. That woman is one of the few people privileged to knowledge of my past. She is also the only one searching for me right now. I want to finish her, but I'll have to let her go this time. The hints the photo left were more troublesome than expected. I was nearly caught by Usami while running through the downtown area, too. Of course, no evidence that could clearly indicate my location was left behind. Still, you can never be too careful. If their search for Hiroaki had taken just a bit longer, I could have taken a friend away from Usami. Taken a friend away? What? Of course, making... Ah, you mean turning Tsubaki against her. Of course, making use of Tsubaki, nevertheless, the seed has already been planted within her. Now I only have to wait for it to bloom. Lastly, I'll contact Tsubaki. I'll give her back her brother. However, I must make my point clearly. If she dares contact the police, their family will suffer once more. Because after all, Tsubaki still has two younger sisters and another brother. I returned home immediately after the negotiation and took a short nap. I feel like I have a fever. Maybe I really did catch the flu. Someone's here. When I picked up the receiver, Usami's face appeared on the monitor. What do you want? The abandoned hospital. Ah, yeah, I looked it up. Would you come inside for a bit? Usami softly replied in the affirmative. But you know, it really isn't necessary for you to come in person. Just give me a phone call next time. Oh, really? Sorry, I was probably asleep. I think he has something much worse than the flu. I spread out the printouts detailing the requested information on the coffee table. It was all sent from real estate agencies. Well, it seems to be called Ejiri Hospital. I heard it was abandoned in the eastern outskirts. The hospital's founder, Dr. Ejiri, was some guy born in the Meiji era. He died long ago. The evil flu, yeah. I told her about the address in detail. The devil's flu. He's got the devil's flu. There are no other abandoned hospitals in the city that match our criteria. I'll go too. I'm not going because I'm worried about you. The owner of this hospital is the subsidiary of the Sano Corporation. If anything goes wrong, it could cause a scandal for Sano. I've got to keep an eye on Sami to make sure she doesn't get into any trouble.
では行きましょうか。
Damn, I don't even have military gloves.
貸しましょうか。お揃いにしましょう。
Out of all things. Oh, let's match military gloves. I left my home disgusted. The residential area gets especially cold at night. I received a phone call from Tsubaki on the way to Sami's apartment. What is it? Just as I finished asking, Tsubaki's unbelievably joyful voice came from the other end of the line. What is it? Did something happen? She spoke so hurriedly that I almost envisioned saliva pouring out of her mouth. He's back. Hiroaki's back. It might just have been my mind playing tricks on me, but it felt like even my voice was shivering. It sounded like she was crying. She repeated the same mumbled yes repeatedly. She repeated it repeatedly, yes. Clearly, if she repeated it, it was said repeatedly. That's fantastic. My whole body relaxed after hearing this. No, I didn't do anything. New and improved translation, yeah, absolutely. I only let you help me make a fortune. Alright, Hiroaki must be in shock too. Cheer him up for me. I'll come visit him sometime. She left me with the farewell enriched with endless joy. Looks like she can finally have a good night's sleep. I let out a long sigh too. I don't have to worry about the police showing up anymore. Sami, it's just as you heard.
よかったです。
A smile appeared on the tip of her lips. However, her eyes only bore a strange glow.
これで警察を頼ることができますね。ひろあきくんが帰ってきたのなら、ことを大っぴらにできます。私も警察にいろいろと証言するつもりです。
Ooh, Tsubaki's gonna hate you if you do that. True, the only reason we didn't contact the police was because the hostage was still in the culprit's hands. Now that the hostage is back, there's no need to hesitate.
今日はもう遅いですし、帰ります。椿の家に行くのは。
Right. We don't have school
お
tomorrow.
やすみなさい。それにしても、よかったです。
I nervously watched Usami leave. I must do something. Unlike Tsubaki, these circumstances didn't give me the courtesy of rest. I rushed to Tsubaki's house first thing in the morning the next day. The train was empty, typical of a weekend morning. Tsubaki immediately presented her brother to me as she answered the door.
お兄ちゃん、こんにちは。
Hi. I was taken aback somewhat. Hey, you look pretty good. Given the fact that he was taken hostage and trapped in an abandoned hospital for a week.
でしょ？私も心配してたんだけどね。
Tsubaki recovered her smile. Were you cold?
真っ暗だったけど、お部屋は暖かかったよ。
What about food?
パンがたくさんあったよ。お菓子もあったよ。
That's pretty luxurious for a hostage. Do you remember anything about the kidnap? I mean, who were you staying with?
お馬さんだったよ。
Mr. Horse. Horse?
お父さんの親戚の人だって言ってた。ちょっとお家に帰れなくなるけど、いい子にして待ってなさいって言われた。
A man with a horse mask, I'm guessing.
最初車に乗った時は怖い人かと思ったけど、お菓子くれたりおもちゃくれたりして。
Well, the kidnapper got Hiroaki on his side pretty easily.
お姉ちゃん寂しかったでしょ。
Hiroaki flashed a mischievous smile.
この子は本当に。
Tsubaki looked like she was going to cry. All's well that ends well, I guess.
一件落着だね。今日からようやく日記を再開できるよ。
What, you haven't been writing in it lately?
日記も書けなくなるほど動揺していたみたいでした。丸。
I mean, yeah, who in this situation just like goes and happily like writes stuff in their journal? Like, really? You know, their diary. You have like other things to worry about. Tsubaki made a refreshing smile. Their family will be facing a move after this, but the situation was finally under control. If you can call this under control.
おはよう。
That is until this girl appeared.
あ、はるちゃん、どうしたの？
ひろあきくんが帰ってきたと聞いたんで。
Tsubaki turned her head aside and looked at me. Yeah, Usami was right beside me when I received a phone call from you yesterday.
あんな夜中に？二人で何をして？
Sexy things. Usami walked up to Hiroaki as Tsubaki interrogated me.
髪の毛ボーボーのお姉ちゃん、こんちは。
ちは、大丈夫だったか？
みんなに聞かれるよ。大丈夫だよ。
ほんとか？私には何でも言うんだぞ。
はるちゃん、昨日はごめんね。ひどいこと言っちゃったような気がして。
気にしてない。私こそお前を知らず知らず傷つけていたようで申し訳なく思ってる。
Upon hearing this, Tsubaki sighed in relief.
せっかくだし、上がってく？引っ越しが近いから散らかってるけど、今はまだ手をつけてないから。
そうだな。警察にも連絡しないといけないしな。
Ah, there it is. Right after she mentioned it,
警察？
Tsubaki's face turned green.
警察ってどういうこと？
どういうことって、一連の事件を警察に通報するんだ。
That's the reason Usami came by today. I had to think of a way to prevent Tsubaki from doing so. But the following turn of events caught me by surprise.
何言ってるの？
Tsubaki's lips quivered.
そんなことしないよ。
なんだって？
Usami frowned.
おかしいよ、はるちゃん。
おかしい。私が？
はるちゃんみたいに頭のいい人ならわかるでしょ？
まだ警察を頼る気はないのか？
当たり前だよ。なんて恐ろしいこと言うの？
Tsubaki's face read unbelievable.
なぜだ？
だってそうじゃない？警察に連絡したら犯人が怒るよ。そしたらどうなると思う？
Interesting that we're having this conversation right in front of the little guy, but I guess he doesn't understand. He doesn't grasp the extent of what happened to him. Usami's eyes met mine for a brief moment. Tsubaki is afraid of a possible second or third kidnapping.
はるちゃんは身代金をすり替えて一度犯人を怒らせたのに、またそんなこと言われても困るよ。
Usami fell silent as if trying to restrain herself.
ごめんね。心配してくれてるのはわかるんだよ。だけど警察には連絡しないよ。絶対。
Usami gazed into Tsubaki with the eyes of a beast.
犯罪者の報復を恐れるがあまり、犯罪者を憎もうともしないのは、あまりにも弱腰というものじゃないか。
Usami squeezed the sentence out of her mouth.
はるちゃんにはわからないよ。はるちゃんの家族がこんなことになったわけじゃない。家の電話が鳴るだけで心臓が飛び跳ねるくらい驚いて、風で窓が鳴っただけでひろあきが帰ってきたんじゃないかって。そんなのはもう嫌だよ。ごめんね。そういうわけだから。
Tsubaki closed her eyes in anguish. What an unexpected development. There couldn't be a better outcome, for me at least. Well then, Usami. What, you want to say something? In the end, Usami didn't help one bit. I'm sure she's not quite ready to just let this drop, but regardless, she no longer has any right to stick her nose into Tsubaki's family affairs.
ひろあきくんが無事で本当によかった。帰ります。
She turned away after she finished. Hiroaki grabbed Tsubaki's sleeves.
ねえお姉ちゃん、遊んで。
Completely oblivious. Ah,
ひろあき、ちょっと中に入ってなさい。
to live that kind of life. Tsubaki shrugged off Hiroaki's grip.
ごめん。ちょっと浅井くんとお話あるの。わかった。後でおやつ作ってね。
Hiroaki took a look at me and went into the house. Don't worry about it. Anyway, this case has been wrapped up. You can return to your everyday life from today on.
そうかな。
She wore a tight expression.
浅井くん、私変かな。
Weird.
変になっちゃったかな。
I couldn't really tell you. Looking back on the horror and misfortune of the past few days, I'd be more surprised if she was acting like a normal schoolgirl.
なんかね、怖いの。今まで知りもしなかった感情がどんどん大きくなって。
As if trying to suppress her shivering, she crossed her arms and hugged herself. Yeah, I must admit that you have been a bit excited these past few days, but don't let it bother you.
ありがとう。浅井くんにそう言ってもらえると心強いよ。
I turned and left after seeing that smile. Well then, I'll see you at school. Just call me if anything comes up. We're all done here. Both the kidnapping and the change in Tsubaki's attitude were developing in a way that benefited me. I must have the luck of the devil or something. Sure.
待って浅井くん。今日時間ある？
Today? Well, I don't have any special plans. Why?
ならちょっと会わない？
Aren't we already together?
改めてっていう意味。
I don't have anything to do with Tsubaki anymore. It is a rare occasion, but I might be busy working.
夜ならどうかな？
Wouldn't it be better to spend the day with your family? Your mom just got out of hospital, didn't she?
だから深夜とかは？
Say what now? The middle of the night? Is little Miss Goody Two-Shoes Tsubaki actually asking a man out late at night?
ごめんね。なんだか不安で浅井くんと一緒にいたいんだよ。
For some reason, I get the gist that this girl is interested in me. Wow. Genius deduction. Honestly, it was kind of annoying, flattering. Yeah, big brain, big brain. Back. We pick flattering. Okay. Want to come to my place?
浅井くんのお家？
Yeah, it'll be more convenient if we're going to meet up late tonight. Wow, she didn't even think twice about it. Talk about zero cautiousness. I should really have a nice chat with her tonight. Well, I'll see you then.
夜電話するね。
Tsubaki's voice lingered in my ears. How's Hiroaki doing now? It's 10 at night. I brought Tsubaki to my
平
apartment.
気みたいだよ。まるで誘拐されたことをもう忘れてるみ。
Seems like the kidnapper took care of Hiroaki really well.
ちゃんと返してくれたしね。
She smiled gently. Tsubaki doesn't seem to hate the kidnapper. I made coffee and sat down opposite Tsubaki. Say, have you calmed down a bit? Tsubaki had said earlier that she wanted to feel me next to her.
少しね。
I see. I wondered as I watched Tsubaki drink the coffee. What does she have to be insecure about? Hiroki's back. It's all over. Is she nervous about the move? Well, she is leaving a home she spent her whole life in. How are the preparations for the move going? Isn't the deadline approaching?
ちょこちょこやってたから多分大丈夫。
Were they preparing for the move while Hiroaki was still being held hostage? She really has things together. I can definitely see why Tsubaki is the center of her family. You don't want to move, do you?
しょうがないことだよ。浅井くんは精一杯してくれたんだし。
Help. Yeah. Judging by her tone, it didn't sound like she was afraid of moving.
それにしてもすごいお家だね。
I'm not sure, does she realize the extent of the impact this is having on her family? on the fact that like they lost their house and their land. She seems to like, I don't know. I have doubts that she actually understands. Looks like she wants to change the topic. Oh yes, come to think of it, it's your first time here, isn't it?
何畳くらいあるの？
The same question as Sami, eh? I laughed through my nose.
はるちゃん？
Hmm?
はるちゃんも来たことあるんだ。そっか、なんか言ってたね。
What? Is something wrong?
ううん。
Tsubaki shook her head. She seemed uncomfortable. Right, you and Usami have been a bit awkward lately. Tsubaki's eyebrows jumped.
そう見える？
No, it was so well hidden and mysterious. It was such a wild guess. I can tell. Tsubaki hesitated before going on.
はるちゃんって浅井くんのこと好きなのかな？
Cold sweat burst from my skin. Please don't say such disgusting things while I'm drinking coffee unless you want it all over your face. What are you doing drinking coffee late at night? I don't understand this. Why are people having coffee in the middle of the night? Anyway. I know that some people do it, but what's the reason? Is it just that they're completely immune to it and they do it for the taste? Or, like, why would you want coffee to keep you up at night? Anyway. How could that possibly be true?
でもここんところいつも一緒にいるでしょ？
We were trying to find Hiroaki together. It wasn't much help though.
今日はね、本当はそのことを
Oh, there! Okay. Sorry, it's just I don't really like. Does caffeine not have an effect on you? Like, doesn't it keep you up at night, or do you want to be kept up at night? Maybe that's something you're after. That's fine. I can't imagine. I mean, right these days I'm not having it much because you know pregnancy. But I can't imagine having it later than like. I mean, lunchtime is late for me, but usually I have it just early in the morning. I can't imagine having it later in the day. You just like coffee, okay? Okay, that's fair enough. It's just like I don't know. I've always wondered what's the if there's a purpose, right? If there's an intent behind having caffeine late at night. I used to not do coffee either until I I started actually working and having to be lucid very early in the morning and actually, you know, do productive things, which my brain was like, we're kind of not feeling it right now. So I have, I don't have it very strong. I have it with a whole lot of milk as well. But you know, it's just a little bit of a kick in the morning. That's all I get out of it. I mean, used to. Not so much these days. These days I'm not having coffee. Well, it's not like I can tell you how Usami feels.
でも私
She lowered her eyes. What?
私は浅井くんのことが
This is upsetting. I'm not sure what sort of misconception she's arrived at, but I was only taking advantage of Tsubaki. There was no love there whatsoever. Hey, Tsubaki. I spoke in a deep voice. I understand what you're trying to say. Well, I should have known, what with you coming over at this hour. Tsubaki's face froze. You're saying you want to be a couple, right? Tsubaki remained speechless. Well, I'll think about it.
Huh?
I don't hate you, but I don't love you either. What am I reading? I'll think about it. I don't hate you, but I don't love you either. Like, what? Just give her a proper no, dude. What is this? Why are you stringing her along? I sometimes drink energy drinks in the evening, but my sleep schedule was already completely broken before. Okay, I see. I mean, if you have to do things at night, like, you know, study and stuff like that, if just generally you're a night owl and your schedule is to stay up later in the evening, I understand. That's alright. But, you know, for them, for example, if they have school the next day, which I'm not sure if they do, maybe this was a Saturday and the next day is the Sunday and they don't have school. But I don't know. It's in the middle of the night. Let me have some coffee. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. The most I'll have is like Lipton iced tea. Does that have caffeine in it? I don't drink it, so I don't know. She was waiting for my next sentence. Maybe you should go home for now. She just arrived. Maybe you should just go home. But Tsubaki didn't budge.
どうやったら付き合ってもらえるかな?
I smiled. We're not on that route though. We're not gonna go in that direction. And even if we were, this is the Steam version, it doesn't have those scenes. So we're gonna be fine. It's just very uncomfortable. I couldn't tell you, but what I can tell you is that you should never enter a boy's room at this hour.
どうして?
They'll think you're easy.
そうなんだ。ごめんね。
Does she properly understand what that means? Because I have doubts. I know you're not actually an easy girl. Even so, you should pay attention to how other people see you.
気にした方がいい?
Yeah, I hate attention. I don't want rumors to spread about me bringing girls home.
服装とかもおしゃれな方がいいかな?
Certainly, it's important to keep up your outward appearance. Eh?
頑張ってみるよ.
For some reason, she was encouraged. Yeah, she's taking everything that you're saying as things that she needs to do for you to be interested in her.
よかった。日記やめろとか言われたらどうしようかと思った。
Hey, that's a good idea.
ひどいよ。
She was a little different from usual. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was though.
おやすみ。
I walked Tsubaki back home. She seemed nervous the entire time. She hardly spoke a word. Though there were some difficulties, at long last the annoying events revolving around Tsubaki were finally coming to an end. From tomorrow forth, my everyday life will return again. How should I respond to Tsubaki's feelings? This question nagged at the back of my mind. The next morning I was summoned by Gonzo. He suddenly brought the subduing breakfast. Pardon? Yes? Oh god. Gonzo smirked. No, she looks to be trouble, so... Gonzo was unsatisfied with my answer. I'm perfectly aware of what needs to be done. Though the kidnapping incident is over, we can't say for sure that the police are going to stay silent. Judging by how Tsubaki acted yesterday, I don't think there will be any problems for a while. When that time comes, I will take responsibility. If it really turns out that way, God knows what Gonzo will do to me. I laid down my chopsticks and slowly sipped the tea. It's been a pleasure as always, sir. As I prepared to leave, Gonzo stopped me. Practice? This was the first time Gonzo had invited me. In other words, he's going far away to a shooting range, with real bullets and real guns, of course. Well, I'm thankful for the invitation, but... I'm sorry, but I have an appointment this afternoon with people from Sanno. Gonzo didn't make another sound. If that's all... Yes? Finish the job? Oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? I've been working non-stop since this morning. I've finally gotten a chance to breathe after the discussion with Sanno. Let's go home and get some sleep. I spotted a familiar face amidst the crowd. Tsubaki.
浅井く
She looked around trying to spot me.
んお兄ちゃんこんにち
Her brother was with her. Are you going shopping?
はお姉ちゃんおもちゃ買ってくれるって
That's great. Hiroaki's smile was perfectly identical to the one when we first met. There was no sign of any emotional scars from the kidnapping.
ついでに携帯電話持とうと思ってね
It might be due to the presence of her brother, but her nervousness from yesterday had vanished completely. A cell phone? You know, they're really...
便利でしょ
Yeah, I think she said something like there wasn't a need for one before. I don't really remember.
あとねお洋服も買うの
Right, the dead of winter's just around the corner.
それだけじゃないんだけどね
Perhaps she took our conversation from yesterday to heart.
ねえお姉ちゃん早く
Hiroaki pulled on Tsubaki's sleeves with his tiny arms.
ねえ浅井くん暇かな
Eh?
よかったら一緒にお買い物しない
Sorry. Well, I certainly do have some time.
じゃ
She's a little forceful today.
あねえ早く
Hiroaki was already pouting. Okay, let's go. I'm no good when it comes to kids. We just finished our shopping at the nearby department store.
ねえ早く帰ろうよ
Apparently, Hiroaki couldn't wait to assemble his new plastic model.
まだお姉ちゃんの買い物が終わってないんだよもうちょっと回らせてよお願い
Looks like her gentle words pacified him for the time being. What clothes are you buying? Coats?
特に決めてないけど
We continued to leisurely stroll about Central Boulevard. I led Tsubaki to several boutiques.
浅井くんってお店に詳しいんだね
Nah, anyone from school would know as much as I do.
私がちょっと田舎ちゃんなだけ
Ichi would be able to help you a lot more than me in this
そ
area.
っか H くんってだから女の子に人気があるんだねいろいろ聞いてみようっと
Nah, you're better off not doing that. Hey, have you made up your mind? About what?
あどうしようかな
Ah, about what to pick, okay. How about the duffel coat we just saw?
もう一周してもいい
Sure, why not? Hiroki followed us obediently. I found out the hard way just how agonizingly long girls take to shop.
ねえお姉ちゃんまだ
We've been out for long enough.
お姉ちゃんいつもはパパッと決めちゃうのにどうしたのごめんねなんか目移りしちゃって
I know what you mean. Let's go buy the cell phone first then. Wait, there's a chance you might be confused by all the models of cell phones too. yeah.
僕もう帰りたいよもうちょっとだけねやだ疲れたよ
Hiraki started acting like a spoiled brat.
もう一人でも帰る
Yeah, sure, she's definitely gonna let you do that after everything that happened. Tsubaki turned pale.
わかったよごめんねひろあきだから一人で帰るなんて言わないで
Tsubaki looked at her brother. Her feelings during the kidnapping must still be vivid in her mind.
いいよ
Hiraki muttered under his breath.
もうちょっとだったらいいよえ
When all is said and done, they really are good siblings.
そういいの
Tsubaki asked him cautiously. I thought for sure she would have decided to just go home with him.
じゃあ
Tsubaki walked toward the cell phone shop. But she shuffled about apprehensively.
帰ろっかん お家に帰ろう。
It sounded like she was convincing herself. Oh, my cell phone is ringing. It's Susami. Do you mind if I answer it? Tsubaki gestured for me to go on. What's the matter?
いや、浅井さん。今バイト終わりました。
Huh?
ところで、今晩どうすか？
Stop trying to invite me like an old man.
夕飯まだなんでしょ？
The invitations just keep coming today. It's not bad to live a decadent day from time to time. Sounds good, where
じゃ
to?
あ、駅前の300円ラーメンでいいですか？
It doesn't really matter, I'll call you back later.
はい。
She hung up.
どうしたの？
Nothing, I'm going to eat ramen with Usami later.
あ、そうなんだ。
What's wrong?
いや、今日はご飯用意するつもりだったから。
Really?
うん。付き合ってくれたお礼に。
Well, I'll call her back then.
断るの？
No, I just thought we could call Usami up and dine together. Is that okay? Oh.
ああ。うん。
Tsubaki's eyes moved about anxiously.
はるちゃんとは昨日喧嘩しちゃったしな。
It is not okay, no. I would hardly call that an argument, though it did end on a bad note. Would you rather me not call Usami?
うん。そんな仲間外れみたいなことできないよ。
Yeah, but like... You also had a plan in your head about the whole thing, and you never let him in, and then you're like, oh, but actually I was planning to cook you dinner! I don't know, it's a little bit much. Alright, I'll go ahead and call her back then. I reached for my cell phone and dialed as I finished.
はいはい。自分もう向かってますよ。
Oh, the thing is, I'm with Tsubaki right now,
お
so
断りしておきます。
I haven't even finished my sentence.
椿の家でご飯っていうプランでしょ？お断りしておきます。
It will work on you? You'd do it for the food, right? Why? Let go of that thing from yesterday already.
いいえ。ただ、私は椿に近寄らない方が賢明なのではないかと。
Is that
わ
so?
からないでもないでしょ？
Tsubaki is romantically interested in me. She thinks Usami likes me too. Maybe Usami picked up on that little snippet as
で
well.
は自分、このまま帰ります。
This time, it was Usami's turn to hang up on me. She went home. It sounded like something came up. And anyway, your house is all the way in the Eastern District. It would be way too far out of her way just to get dinner. I lied without even blinking, which is... Why would you blink? Because like, you lie constantly.
本当に私に気を使ってくれたんじゃないの？
I don't think so.
本当？嘘ついてないよね。
Well, I was quite astonished. The small feeling I had that something was wrong had grown into certainty. I don't remember Tsubaki ever actually suspecting me. This girl really has changed a bit.
姉ちゃん？
Tsubaki's brother raised his head to study her expression. Anyway, Usami's not coming. Let's get a move on. Ah, I suddenly felt a wave of dizziness.
大丈夫？
Yeah, it's nothing. I caught the flu that's going around, that's all. Oh, sorry. I tapped my forehead lightly with my fingers. Sorry, but I think I'm going to back out too. I need to go home and get some sleep.
私も浅井くんの家行っていい？おかゆとか作るよ。
Oh, come on. What would you do with Hiraki?
あ、
Hiraki quietly listened to our conversation. They exchanged glances. Don't mind me, you guys get home, alright? Tsubaki finally nodded. Take care. I hurried away from Tsubaki. Something urged me away from her. Whatever Tsubaki had said, it never reached my ears. Okay. Oh, perspective mode, okay. She was exhausted. Tsubaki thought she might be getting sick.
お父さん、書斎の荷物まとめた？
Her family was busy preparing to move. Tsubaki was taking care of the kids' toys and the books in the bedroom, tying stacks of them together with twine.
ねえ、お父さんたら聞いてるの？
ああ、すまん。今やってるよ。ほら、ひろあき、ちょっとどいてなさい。
Voices bathed in joy poured forth from the study. A father and his son were happily building the new plastic model together. The tension that Tsubaki's father had accumulated had all but dissipated after Hiroaki's return yesterday. He sat by Hiroaki's side and played with him for hours on end, disregarding his assigned duties. Tsubaki understood his feelings very well, so she held her tongue. She was currently still busy playing the role of her sick mother, taking care of the whole family's chores. She cooked, washed laundry, crooned her siblings to sleep, poured beer for her father, and now spent a few peaceful moments packing up for the move. Suddenly, Tsubaki began to question her endless work.
ほら、さえ、ちゃんとお布団で寝てなさい。トイレはあっちでしょ。もう。
She used a harsher tone than she meant to. She said things she didn't mean to say. What's happening to me? Nothing should have changed for her. As the eldest daughter of the Miwa family, Tsubaki has always done chores like the cooking and the laundry. Taking care of her siblings for her sick mother was only natural. She had even gotten a kick out of her father's subtle nagging and complaints back in the day. Tsubaki began to search her thoughts for the reason behind her change. Her wandering mind settled once more on that man. The unforgettable whispers of the devil assailed her from her memory. I will mold you into a human. He said this to her as she ran around the city with the ransom. After that, they had secretly rendezvoused twice. How does that work with the past participle? Jesus. It's rendezvoused. Like that? Like you pronounce the S? Then like, so weird. So weird. Okay. They could have chosen a different word anyway. In the end, what had Hiroaki's kidnapper wanted with Tsubaki? He seemed to have a liking for psychology. As a result, Tsubaki's heart had been scooped out numerous times without her even realizing it. Tsubaki thought that she would like to meet him again someday. If she did, she'd have the chance to take out all her melancholy on him. What does that mean, take out all her melancholy on him? She wanted to burden him with the feelings within her which brought forth such anger and regret. Okay, but is she capable of doing that? But at the same time, Tsubaki felt indescribable uneasiness toward her hatred of another person. At that moment, her prayers were answered. Her cell phone rang. This was the phone the kidnapper had provided her. She had wanted to scrap it, but never managed to, deciding instead to keep it nearby at all times. Wasn't that Haru's phone? Shouldn't she return it, or am I mistaking something? She pressed it tightly between her hands. After affirming that her family hadn't noticed, she pressed the talk button with hesitation. The receiver remained silent. She quietly said, "Hello." That strange familiar voice reached her ears. It was the kidnapper.
わかりました。
She acquiesced to his desires right away. Maybe this was the moment she had been waiting for. Tsubaki walked silently under the winter sky. The criminal had waited for the right time to speak.
はい。監禁されていたことなんて、もうすっかり忘れているみたいに元気です。
監禁だなんてとんでもないな。保護していたようなものだ。トラウマになってしまったらかわいそうだろ。
Yeah, I was about to say that he most likely does not perceive it that way, and he's completely oblivious to what that meant for his family. How, like, bad of a thing it was on his side to follow this unknown guy. It seems like nobody will acknowledge that or have a proper conversation with him. Which, okay, sure. Was it a joke or was he serious? The criminal acted as if he had done the boy a favor.
警察には連絡していないだろうな。
もちろんです。
分かっていると思うが、私はまたいつでもお前の家族を絶望の淵に立たせることができる。
This voice permitted no denial. Tsubaki took a deep breath and asked,
何の用ですか？もうあなたのことは早く忘れたいんです。
Lies. She wouldn't be able to forget about this man even if she tried.
最後に確認しておこうと思ったのだ。
確認？
Tsubaki held her breath. The kidnapper continued.
私が憎いか？
Ooh. He used a provocative tone. Tsubaki's head felt as if it had been pummeled by a blunt object. She found herself tongue-tied.
そうか、憎いか。
Maou laughed with satisfaction.
しかし、私はもうお前の前には現れない。たとえ警察が調べを入れたとしても、私の足取りはつかめないだろう。
Tsubaki's knees nearly buckled under her. This evildoer was about to disappear. Who could she take these suppressed feelings out on? What? Oh my god. Okay.
言っておくが、お前は巻き込まれたに過ぎない。私の真の目的は別のところにあった。
Mm-hmm.
真の目的って何ですか？
わかるだろう。お前の身近な友達だ。
Tsubaki finally understood, and the name escaped her lips.
はるちゃん。
Then suddenly the chime of the dial tone echoed in Tsubaki's ear. The devil's whispers vanished into the wind. Ay ay ay. Only the sound of her own breath reached Tsubaki as she stood there motionless in the cold.
そんな。
She gripped the cell phone tightly. Her lips quivered and her brow furrowed. An impulse to scream raged in her mind. Dirty emotions gathered in her heart, all directed at a dear friend. Well, that girl likes Kyosuke too, she thought. Tsubaki couldn't control these feelings. Tsubaki decided that her past self had indeed been the distorted one. She became the class representative simply because people had asked her to. She had cleaned up for friends when they shirked their duties. She put her young brother as her top priority, spent all her time and allowance on the people around her, and never kept enough money to buy what she herself wanted. She had been granted the stigma of a kind person, and she never thought twice about it. Desire slowly crept into that forced smile of hers. Tsubaki sank into a sea of daydreams. She wanted to wear nice clothes, to play freely, to what? What? Oh god. Desires befitting any girl her age continued to surface in Tsubaki's heart one by one as she slowly returned to her room. Ay ay ay. Goodness me.
京介ちゃんよ。おい、京介ちゃんよ。
Oh god. This guy again. Eiichi came up to me first thing in the morning. Oh, sorry. Damn.
そろそろよ、俺の家でパーティーの時期じゃねえの？
Sorry, I scrolled a little bit too fast there. So, Eiichi came up to me the first thing in the morning, wrinkling his brow. What is it? Get your face out of mine. A party at his house? Why? Since when do we party together?
今年からだけどよ、ついに俺ちゃんも爬虫類に手を出したわけだよ。
Okay. You're talking about pets now?
とりあえずヘビから言ってみたわけだ。チャーリーって言うんだが、これがまた冬だけあって切なそうなんだよ。
What are you trying to say? You want me to visit Charlie?
エグザクトリーだぜ。
Why? There's something wrong with this kid.
楽しそうなお話してますね。は、宇佐美さんも来るかい？お誘いありがとうございます。宴会は地味に好きです。ちゃんとお土産持ってきてね。ヘビさんにですか？うん、僕に。死んだバッタとかでいいっすかね？だから僕にだってば。
And with that, class commenced. Okay. During class, Asami suddenly turned toward me.
椿、来 けないっすね。
You're right. Do you think something happened?
昨日ご飯食べたんじゃないんですか？
No, I backed out at the last minute.
椿最近ちょっと疲れ気味だと思うんで心配です。
I agree. She has her upcoming move to worry about as well.
浅井さんのフォローが必要ですね。
Why me?
自分はちょっと敬遠されているみたいなので。
That's true. Tsubaki rolled into school at the crack of noon.
みんなおはよ
I thought she might have come down with the flu or something, but she seems energetic enough. Why so late?
何してたの？
う。ちょっと昨日夜更かししちゃって。
Moving preparations?
そんなとこかな。ちょっと日記つけたり本読んでたりしてたの。
You're late because of that? Well, maybe she's just tired.
引っ越しするんだ。へえ、どこに引っ越すの？
It's somewhere in the central district, right?
浅井くんの家の近くだよね。
Yeah, she's very happy about that. Her voice jumped. It's no more than a 10-minute walk from my place.
嬉しいな。新築のマンションなんだよね。
Yeah, I had the guy show me a really good room.
僕ちょっと残念だな。
何が？
なんかあそこアットホームな感じがあったからさ。
The smile disappeared from Tsubaki's lips.
でもうちってすごく古いんだよ。隙間風とかすごいし、砂壁だし、ストーブないと寒くてたまらないんだよ。
僕さ、生まれも育ちも都会だからさ、ちっちゃい頃からああいう一戸建ての家に住みたいなーとか思ってたんだよね。
そうなの？ H 君ってずっとマンションだったの？
よく言う鍵っ子だよ。お父さんは単身赴任ばっかりだし、お母さんも夜遅いからね。
It's interesting how they use the word, like the borrowed, I would assume, word mansion to refer to an apartment. Oh god.
そうなんだ。
Tsubaki nodded gently.
言ってくれたら今度ご飯作りに行くね。
Well, at least that part of Tsubaki doesn't seem to have changed.
ありがとう。正直、寂しい時あるんだよね。
Still, this is the first I've heard of Ichi's family situation.
ちょっとオーバーに言い過ぎちまっ
He
たか
lied.
な。しかしこれいいな。コアピールっつうの。今度はみなしごっていう設定にしようかね。
Oh my god. Why does he have to be so repulsive in these lines? It's just so over the top, I can't. Oh god. I was an idiot for sympathizing with him even for a moment. Now then, lunch break's almost over. I don't have much to do today, so I'll just go home and sleep. My headaches have been awful recently. Ah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Just as I was about to leave, Tsubaki called out to me. Something on her face tells me she's about to invite me somewhere.
浅井くん、今日ちょっと寄っていかない？
Tsubaki has been a lot more forward lately. The first time she asked me out, she looked terrified. Wasn't I with you just yesterday?
ダメかな。セントラル街でね、バイオリニストのイベントあるみたいだよ。
Oh, really? On Central?
なんかデパートのイベントでちょっとした演奏会とその後握手会するみたい。
Who's playing?
ね
Tsubaki flipped through her diary. After hearing the name, my heart began to race. It's one of those events with free tickets and a chance to get a signature if you buy the CD afterward.
そうそう、ちっちゃい企画みたいだけどどうかな。
We're going. My immediate answer made Tsubaki smile happily. But I can't believe you know about such obscure things.
昨日調べたの。
She looks a bit proud of herself. What about Hiroaki? Doesn't he have to go to kindergarten?
しばらく休ませてるから、
And the others? I forgot their
お
names.
父さんが面倒見てくれてる。
Ah, what about moving preparations? Wait, am I nagging you?
準備は夜中やればいいから、最悪明日でもいいしね。
Well, then let's go.
今日は遊びたいの。
Tsubaki clung to my side, smiling flirtatiously. By the time we left the department store, the sky was completely dark. Live performances really are a wholly different experience.
ご満悦だね。CD もちゃんと2枚買ったしね。
Of course. Maybe it's the release of tension after an activity, but the sensation of the chilly air against my flushed cheeks felt great. Thank you, Tsubaki.
また行こうね。
Oh, that reminds me. Didn't you say you were getting a cell phone? Do you want me to go with you?
本当？ありがとう。
But aren't you short on time? It's already 8.
今日は平気だよ。
Really? Previously she would have gone back by now for sure. But if she says it's okay, then it's probably fine. We casually strolled along the bustling streets. We wandered around town for 2 hours. We bought her a cell phone and had dinner together. Now then.
ねえ、浅井くん。次、どこ行こうか。
I spoke without thinking. Hey now, it's already 10. Even I want to go home. I don't have a specific job right now, but I have to check my accumulated mail daily.
ゲームセンターとか行く？浅井くんってゲームするのかな？
What happened to you? Tsubaki's attitude bothered me.
何が？
Are you the type to stray out this late? Sorry, to stay. To stray. Are you the type to stay out this late? I don't think there are any strings of words as incompatible as Tsubaki and the arcade at night.
そんなことないんじゃない？ほら、よくカップルでぬいぐるみキャッチャーとかしてるじゃない？ああいうのしたいなーって思って。
Couples, hint, 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 hint. She's the type to stray now. Yes, she is. What happened to the Tsubaki I once knew? No matter how much she likes me, she's being strangely forceful about wanting to hang out. What, did the night owl in you suddenly awaken?
そうかな？そうかもね。
I mean, she's stayed up late writing in her diary before. Even, like, I feel like this happened. So it's not necessarily a night owl kind of thing. She just wants to be with you. Of course. She probably had some coffee. Probably. Tsubaki maintained her playful attitude. It's not like we're doing anything bad. It's not a problem to be late for school once in a while, and there's nothing wrong with going to the arcade. Still, something's strange. I heard that once a hardworking person learns to slack off, there's nothing that can cure them. I was only half joking, but Tsubaki's expression suddenly became frightful.
なんだかね、遊ぶと気持ちがスッとするの。
Huh?
嫌なこと忘れて遊んでると楽なの。自分でもちょっとダメかなって思うんだけど、それがまた気持ちいいの。
Way to drop a
冗
bomb.
談だよ。
No, I think she meant it. She laughed happily. I think I've only seen that kind of laughter, the kind with her mouth wide open and her teeth shining, recently. Let's just head home. We can go to the arcade next time.
ごめんね、無理言って。
It's good to see that she's still as earnest as always.
なんか観察されて。
It's just your imagination. Let's go. I'll walk you home. She shook her head.
でもね、浅井くん。私、
She's about to open up again.
今まで我慢しすぎだったのかなって。
Maybe it's that release of tension from having the incident resolved. But she looks like she's been possessed by something. Ay, ay, ay.
わざわざありがとう。
The air over here is really nice. I let out a big yawn. I can see a lot more stars out here than I can from my apartment in the central district.
ちょっと上がってく？
If I did, I'd miss the train.
泊まってく？浅井くんならお父さんも許してくれると思う。
Even if your dad allows it, I won't allow it. Don't tell me you were hoping to go to school together tomorrow.
ダメかな？
If Eiichi and Sami saw us, I don't even want to think about the trouble that would ensue.
はるちゃんはそういうのを冷やかす人なのかな？
I'm not saying she'd make fun of us, per se. I just think she'd crack some stupid joke and leave.
何にしても はるちゃんはちょっとわけわかんない時あるよね。
I'd say so. I knew it. Tsubaki hasn't been getting along with Sami.
そうだ、携帯の番号を交換してもらっていいかな。
Sure. At that moment, I heard footsteps from behind me and turned around. Huh?
あ、お姉ちゃんたちだ。
ちょっとひろあき、どこ行ってたの？
アイス買いに行ってたんだよ。
In his hand was a convenience store bag. Oh my god, he went alone?
一人で？何してるの？危ないじゃない。
Tsubaki was furious and closed the distance between herself and her brother.
もうバカ。お父さんは？
お父さんなんか忙しいみたいだったからこっそり出たの。
That's what I'm saying! You didn't have a proper conversation with the kid. You didn't explain to him. Not necessarily what happened and that he was abducted and stuff. Maybe that's too early. But you need to have a conversation with this kid about going out on his own. And that's not allowed anymore. Jeez.
だからって一人でなんて。
ダメだった？
See, he's completely oblivious.
お金はどうしたの？
お姉ちゃんの貯金箱から借りた。
And he's stealing other people's money without asking first. Her lips were trembling. I could hear her agitated breathing. Tsubaki opened her eyes wide.
ひろあき、お姉ちゃんの気持ちわからない？
No, because he's a kid, and if you don't explain it to him, he won't know. Poor little dude, come on.
ひろあきは
Oh,
悪い人にさらわれたんだよ。
no, definitely not. This is like the complete opposite, which is not good either.
悪い人じゃなかったよ。
悪い人なの。お姉ちゃんたちとっても心配したんだよ。
Maybe Tsubaki had frightened him. Hiroaki quickly became frank.
ごめんなさい。
His little head drooped down, sorry. Tsubaki stared at her brother, dissatisfied. My eyes trickled down her arm as it dangled powerlessly at her side and came upon a tightly clenched fist.
お姉ちゃん？
Maybe Hiroaki had been expectantly waiting for Tsubaki's forgiveness.
あんまり困らせないで。
I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but talk to him first. Tell him, don't do this. Aha. This kid might be the child-free propaganda the Russian government has banned. What? I'm not sure what that is. Maybe, like always, Hiroaki was anticipating Tsubaki's warm embrace.
まったく、お父さんもお父さんだよ。なんでひろあきから目を離すかな。
See, this is wrong. If a little kid wants to sneak out, they will find a way to sneak out, especially if you are busy with moving and a whole bunch of stuff going on in the home. There's so many of you. He's gonna find a way to like slip away if that's what he wants to do. The idea is not to put even more burden and pressure on the others around him. The idea is to slowly, open up his eyes to the reality and how he should behave. And you cannot do that unless you start talking to him. Duh. It's not that the kid needs to know better. He can't know better because nobody told him. So nobody is trying to mold his behavior and push it in a direction that is more suitable and appropriate with their goals. Nobody is trying to explain to him the dangers that he's exposing himself to. Not that he would immediately grasp them because he's a kid, but I don't know. Like, how can you say stuff like, "Don't you understand my feelings?" Where was that line? Where was it? Hiroaki, don't you understand my feelings? No, he does not have the capacity to understand your feelings. Jeez. Oh god. Mm. Tsubaki continued muttering big
ご
complaints.
めんねお姉ちゃん。お姉ちゃん困ってるの？
Hey, Tsubaki, calm down a bit.
うん。わかってる。
Like, even now it's a good moment that he asked, right? Did I make you worry? And then you can, like, say, yes, you made me worry. Why? Because when you go out on your own, blah, 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 you know, explain it to him. It's like the perfect situation to, you know, try to educate him in that direction. As much as it is possible for a kid his age. But no. I finally found an opportunity to intervene.
でもお姉ちゃんだって帰ってくるの遅いよ。お姉ちゃんはいいの。大人なんだから。
Yeah, putting it this way is not gonna make him understand. Also true, if a child wants to do something, they will find absolutely 100% they will find that way. Sorry, Hiroaki-kun. I was out playing with your sister, that's why we were so late. Things are getting complicated, so I tried to salvage the situation.
僕、あの馬の人と遊んでもらって楽しかったけど、寂しいことあったんだよ。お姉ちゃんに会えないのは寂しかったんだよ。だからもっと遊んでよ。
Tsubaki didn't nod in response.
引っ越しの準備しなきゃ。
Tsubaki moved her gaze away from Hiroaki. Well then, good night.
また明日ね。
After we exchanged phone numbers, we made some small talk and parted. I don't know, I can't see how you can expect the child to have a child to have this kind of like epiphany of like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, when to him the trip was fun. He was in a warm place, got snacks, got treats. He doesn't see the Mr. Horse person as a bad person. He's defending him in front of his own family. And nobody is trying to sit him down and talk to him. So how is he supposed to know? He can't, possibly. So he's gonna continue to operate in this mode. Anyway. Tsubaki is reverting into a base being. The unrealistic part of her nature has begun to disappear. Maybe something has been bottling up inside her all this time. Now that I think about it, she's taking care of such a huge family in place of her sick mother. She has no idea how to have fun. She doesn't know much about the world. This even got her into trouble with the scout once. She always gives people the benefit of the doubt and tries her damnedest for others. What would happen if a person like that broke? Tsubaki means no more to me than any of my other friends from school. She's just a person I can relax with. Please, Mao, take the child away. No, please. No, that's enough of that. That's the way it should be, but it seems that our bonds lately have been running a little too deep. I should just go to bed. The headache didn't attack me that night, and I slept soundly. Good for you, dude. Good for you. Ichi caught me first thing the next morning.
で、結局パーティーどうするよ。
It doesn't really matter to me. It's all good as long as I'm free.
なら今日だな。
Well, that's rather sudden.
だって明日は祭日だろ。
Oh, right.
パーティーするの？
僕んちおいでよ。
行く行く。楽しそうだね。
Usami then appeared out of nowhere.
椿、大丈夫か？
何が？
顔色が悪いぞ。
Indeed, two black circles ornamented Tsubaki's eyes. She stayed up
平
late
気だ
again.
よ。はるちゃんこそ寝癖ひどいよ。
Tsubaki responded with a smile. Then, about the party,
私、ひろあきを迎えに行ってからだから遅くなる。
遅くてもいいよ。ちゃんとお土産持ってきてくれれば。
みかんでいいかな。とっても甘いよ。
おみかん。自分、みかん、大好き。
what are you, a caveman?
はるちゃんも来るんだね。
ああ、
Usami looked at Tsubaki with a serious face.
やめとこうか。
なんで？別に来ればいいと思うよ。
そっか。
Usami kept silent after that. Should we invite Kanon?
カノンちゃんはスケートの練習に忙しいからよそうよ。別に仲間外れにするわけじゃないよ。
Definitely not. I guess you're right. The tournament's coming up soon. Yet the person in question, Kanon, was snapping on her desk.
で、京介くんはお土産何持ってきてくれるのかな？
You have poisonous snakes, right? How about a mongoose?
ハーブじゃないよ。っていうか、マングースなんて持ってこれるもんなら持ってきてよね。
Have I been playing around too much recently? There are no major jobs right now, so it doesn't matter, but still.
浅井くんも来るんだよね。
Tsubaki's pale face worries me. Hey, Tsubaki. I spoke as though it wasn't important. I get the feeling that you're becoming more ordinary.
そうかな。
Yeah, but it's not a bad thing. What I meant was she was becoming more normal. Without that strange naivety, it was actually easier to communicate with her. I felt that Tsubaki and I were growing closer.
変かな。
Tsubaki asked uneasily. No, it's actually for the better. Keep it up. We'll have some good times yet. We'll have some good times yet. Okay, translation. Tsubaki smiled brightly in relief.
遊ぼう。
いやいや、なんか二人で盛り上がってるけど、主催は僕だからね。
Time flies, and classes ended in the blink of an eye. Sunset came earlier each day.
じゃあ私一度帰るね。
またね。
Maou should kidnap HE and throw away the key, never to be seen again. Tsubaki left before the rest of us.
そういえば自分バイトでした。
来ないの？
すみません。もっと早くにお誘いいただければ前処したんですが。
いや、宇佐美さんももっと早くに断ってよ。
She must be She must be trying to be considerate to Tsubaki.
椿に遠慮してるわけじゃないですよ。でも、椿は心配です。
No, sorry. Suddenly my throat was very dry. Worried?
疲れてるみたいですし。
Yeah, thank you. Oh my god, what? Ah.
だから今日僕が盛り上げてあげるよ。
さすが栄一さんです。自分は盛り下げるのが得意なんですが。
Usami played with her long, shaggy hair.
椿のお父さんとかも大丈夫ですかね。
Tsubaki's dad? Why are you worried about her family?
いえ、なんとなくそう思ったんです。
She claimed to be worried, but her face remained as blank as always.
ほら、家族はいるもんじゃないですか。浅井さんみたいにお父さんがすごい方だと息子もすごい人になるじゃないですか。いろんな意味で。
Alright. What are you trying to say? This girl has no idea about Gonzo.
だから椿が疲れてると家族もそう、まるで鏡のように元気をなくしていくんじゃないですかね。
Like a reflection in a mirror, you say? This phrase really clung to my mind. So are your parents as strange as you?
ちっけーな。知らないわけじゃないでしょ。
Why would I know anything about your parents? Christ, Usami's always talking such nonsense. Mirrors, give me a break.
ではまた。浅井さん、今度お話ししたいことありますので、その時はよろしくお願いします。
Okay. What the hell? Just say it now.
いえいえ、たわいもないギャグですので。
Just go to work already. I waved to her as she walked away.
さて、どうするよ。
You're right. A party with only you and me would be...
寒いよマジで。俺とお前とチャーリーとかマジ寒いって。
Who's Charlie? Looks like we need... Charlie is the snake. Yeah, okay. Looks like we need some girls.
お前友達呼べよ。年上のジョイとか。
A mature female doctor. Ooh.
ほらミキちゃんって子はお前のセフレの。
I don't know what FWB is, and I don't think I want to know. Miki-chan's not my FWB. That's out of the question. Ah, friends with benefits, okay. Speaking of which, I haven't talked to Miki in a good while. I wonder what's been going on in that neck of the woods. I wonder if this person actually exists.
じゃあ椿が来るまでナンパしようぜ。お前の財布と俺のスイーツ知識があればどうにでもなるって。
Okay. Sounds like a pain in the
だ
ass.
よグズグズしやがって。ほら行くぞ。
Hey, let go of me. Jeez Louise. Okay, give me a moment. I'll make a quick run to the bathroom and be right back. Jesus. This guy. Ugh. Alright, here we go. Was there a drop on the stream? Yuzi was complaining about the internet just now. It looks fine to me, right? I can't see an issue, so I hope everything's fine. Alright, let's keep going. We arrived on Central Boulevard. Eiichi got all fired up as we headed for the thickest part of the crowd.
おい女
Oh. Eiichi switched his finger and
飯
pointed.
食いに行くぞ
Oh please, you don't just stand in front of a random girl and say that. As expected, the girl left in a hurry with a disgusted look on her face.
クソが
Look, Eiichi-san.
んだよおめえももっとやる気と財布出せよ
Use your brain.
俺に意見する気かよ
Your selling point is cuteness. Make use of that potential of yours.
あったよ
Then again, working the cute angle won't really get you anywhere with skirt chasing.
ねえお姉さん
Eiichi found another mark a short while later.
あのね聞いてくれる僕手相の勉強してるんだ ちょっといいかな。
The girl didn't even look at Eiichi. Hey kid, what's up with the palm reading?
俺なりの工夫だよ。女は占いとか好きだからな。
Sorry. Just a sec, give me a second. There we go. Just needed to adjust something. All good. Okay. His trademark pool. Okay. Divination. Interesting. Okay. Okay. This Joker's hopeless. My phone suddenly rang. Yes, hello?
あ、浅井くんごめん。
It was Tsubaki.
ごめん。ちょっと遅くなりそうなんだ。
Did something come up?
ちょっと、ひろあきが。
Huh?
いや、構ってほしいみたいで。
Right, Hiroaki did mention something like that last night. Then call me later. We'll just find something to do in the meantime.
ごめんね。なるべく急いで行くから。
There's no need to rush, but she hung up as I was about to tell her that.
なんだって？
Tsubaki said she'll be coming a bit later than she said she would. Apparently, she has to play with her brother.
んだよ、またあの弟かよ。わがままなガキだぜ。
I mean, look who's talking. Yeah, all kids are like that.
椿も苦労してんな。遊ぶ暇とかないんだろうな。
You're probably right.
あいつって化粧気も全然ねえじゃん。服も毎年似たようなの着てるしさ。ま、そこがちょっと俺ちゃんの中で評価高いわけだけど。
You, a high opinion?
なんつうの、清く正しい感じがするじゃん。貧乏だけど頑張りますみてえな。燃えるじゃん。
Is it? I, on the other hand, wasn't so fond of that part of her. That was the Tsubaki from the past.
あー、ナンパ来た。ゲーセンでも行って時間潰そうぜ。
Whatever, I don't care, I'm only watching though. Arcades are only a waste of money. We decided to wander around Central Boulevard until Tsubaki called. Ah boy. This guy.
気づいたらもう10時じゃね。
Who knows? Tsubaki still hasn't called.
さすがにお開きにするか。椿には悪いけど。
Fair enough. I'll call her and pass it on.
じゃあ帰るわ。
Sure. Eiichi disappeared in an instant. I'll head home soon too, but let's take care of some business first, shall we? It wouldn't hurt to show up at the company either. Top management has been doing a real good job lately, so there hasn't been much need for me to butt in. They've asked for my advice a few times. My advice didn't mean anything, of course. I guess they just wanted to make use of Gonzo's influence. Okay. An hour had already passed before Tsubaki called. It's pretty late, you know?
ごめん。今どうしてる？
We gave up a long time ago. I could feel Tsubaki's anxiety, even through the phone.
なんだ。そっか。残念だな。
Come on, we can have a party any day.
浅井くん、明日は？
Huh?
明日空いてない？
What's the matter?
今日の埋め合わせみたいな。
You want to go out again?
それだけじゃなくて、ちょっとお父さんがお話ししたいみたいで。
Your father? Could it be about the land? Alright, I'll come to your house. Would it be okay to come over before noon?
助かるよ。その後、ちょっと出かけたりできると嬉しいな。
She's got her heart set on a date with me, apparently. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and you're indulging it. For some reason, I seem to be relaxing my guard around Tsubaki. I'm starting to believe that it might be alright to tell her about my other side. Not everything, mind you, but perhaps just a little bit wouldn't hurt. Okay. It might be an opportunity to get things off my chest and gain someone I can discuss things with. Tsubaki seems to be at my beck and call anyways. I've never liked her until recently, when she started to have an interest in topics that relate to money. Want to eat at a slightly classier restaurant than usual?
連れてってくれるの？
This is very weird. Like, he had no interest in her. He didn't know how to, like, get rid of her faster. And now suddenly it's like, oh, maybe I can confide in her about my other side of, like, the dark, you know, business that I take care of on behalf of my dad. Like, okay. We'll pay Dutch, of course, but yeah, you've got some savings, right?
結構あるよ。今までお金の使い方とか知らなかったから、そういうことも教えてほしいな。
Now, this is another thing that irks me, given the situation that her family is in. Like, you've lost everything. But she has money to just spend around willy-nilly, new clothes, fancy restaurants, stuff like that. Alright, alright. I can teach you quite a few bad things, I replied with a joke. Tsubaki seemed cheerful too.
あのね、聞いてくれるかな？ひろあきがさっきやっと眠ってくれてさ。
Is that why you ended up calling so late?
そうなの。私、
Just your luck, huh?
そうかも。クラスでもさ、委員やってるけど、最近なんで私なんだろうって思うの。
This conversation looks like it will be here for the long
あ
haul.
とさ、お父さんがね。
I sank deeply into conversation with Tsubaki as I made my way home.
ああ、これからまた引っ越しの準備だよ。お父さんももっと手伝ってくれればいいのに。
Tsubaki started complaining. Even her tone changed. I felt like I had trampled over something precious, but that only served to tickle my sadistic urges. I had tasted for the first time the pleasure that comes from defiling others. The entire sensation felt a bit base. Base? Okay. Nevertheless, dragging a pure girl like Tsubaki down to my level left me with an ecstatic grin. Oh god, this MC is gonna be the death of me. Based. Yeah, no, that's probably not what they meant there, but whatever. Turns out that what Tsubaki's father wanted to talk to me about wasn't anything important. It was probably just Tsubaki's excuse to call me out. It doesn't bother me or anything, though. It's relatively normal for a girl to use this kind of tactic. Tsubaki, who was dressing up in front of the mirror, probably didn't even have a single thought of deceiving me. This is the way it should be. Tsubaki, where did you get that outfit?
通販だよ。最近はインターネットで何でも買えるんだね。すぐ届くし便利だよね。
I mean, it's just the code because the skirt and the shirt she already had, it's the same ones. But okay. You didn't know about this before?
興味なかったから、なんだかすごく損してた気分。
Her expression might be bright, but I get the feeling that it looked a bit haggard as well. Have you written in your diary lately?
全然。書く暇なんてここんところなかったから。
Aye, bad sign. Her eyes were dull and seemed just a bit empty.
ああ、もう日記なんてやめようかな。今時ないよね、日記が趣味とか。
Is that really how you feel? Personally, when someone says Tsubaki, I immediately jump to that diary of yours. Tsubaki wrinkled her eyebrows.
ねえお姉ちゃん、
何ひろあき。
かくれんぼしよ
後でね。それよりこれ似合う？
Tsubaki held out her new clothes for her brother to see.
う。
No.
あれ？
Kids sure, Frank.
姉ちゃんは前に僕がいいって言った服が好きなんじゃないの？
あのパーカー？あれはもうずっと着てるじゃない？
うん。それでお姉ちゃん、僕のお友達に貧乏ってあだ名つけられた。でもそれでも好きって言ってたよ。どうしたのお姉ちゃん。
浅井くんはどう思う？
Tsubaki looked at me with pleading eyes. If I had to choose between the one and the other, I'd say the new clothes are a bit more fitting.
そうだよね。
There's a different air to them. That's a good thing, right? Tsubaki was so happy that her voice was shaking.
よかった。こういうの着ないと浅井くんに恥かかせちゃうもんね。
You don't have to worry about that.
だって浅井くんの私服って高いんでしょ？街で並んで歩いてたら恥ずかしいじゃない？
Now, why would you think that? I tilted my head, trying to read Tsubaki's feelings.
何か変かな？
No, not at all. It's very
よ
normal.
かった。最近ちょっと疲れてるみたいでね。思ったことすぐ言っちゃうことがあるの。変だったら言ってね。
I nodded silently.
お姉ちゃ
The ankle biter was spinning around Tsubaki's knees as
お
usual.
父さんに遊んでもらいなさい。
ん。だってお父さん引っ越しだもん。
Her father has been packing since morning,
お
apparently.
姉ちゃんたち、これから出かけるの？
Tsubaki raised her
どこ
voice.
行くの？僕も行く。
ダメだったら、もう
Tsubaki violently cast aside her brother's hand. For an instant, Hiroaki's expression was shocked to the point of fear.
行こう、浅井くん。
Not even giving her brother a second glance, Tsubaki hastily made for the door. I just followed her. Tsubaki was gasping for air with huge gulps. She didn't exactly seem to be in good condition to be going out. She's back in her old outfit. What's happening? They just didn't update the sprite, did they?
うっかりこれ着てきちゃった。
Ah, no. Okay, it's on purpose. She touched the coat that she usually wears with a dissatisfied look. My excitement for our upcoming excursion dashed. I gazed over at Tsubaki. Is it okay for you to skip out on packing today? Your dad looks like he's working too hard.
いいんだよ。ここんところ、私がずっとやってたし。
Still, I can't believe you're finally moving. I did a lazy stretch and looked at the house's ancient exterior. Haven't you lived here all your life? Yeah, sure. Twist the knife in the wound and pour some salt on it. What?
だったら、何？
Oh my god. Uneasy, she answered with a question. Nothing, I was just thinking that you might miss some things about this place.
あるにはあるけど。
Her words were unclear and her line of sight flitted about. Her dazed eyes settled on the front lawn. What is it?
よく、あそこで花火したなーって。
Ah,
秋になるとね、みんなでお芋焼くの。お父さんが張り切っちゃって火事になりそうだったこともあったの。
what? Oh no.
一番下の子がね、初めてハイハイした時、縁側から落っこちちゃってさ、あの時は大騒ぎで、それで。
Her brilliant smile was starting to wither. Hey, Tsubaki. I slowly, gently put my hand on Tsubaki's shoulder. You can make just as many wonderful memories at your new home, you know? I saw the place, it's pretty nice, and it's close to my house too. Maybe you can invite me to your next family gathering. I've never spent much time with my family, and I have to admit that some nights I wish I could have some warm, hearty home cooking.
浅井くん。
Tsubaki brought her hand to her shoulder and placed her fingers atop mine. First the kidnapping and now the move. It feels like you've had nothing but tragedy recently. I know that you've been under an increasing amount of stress each day, but it'll get easier from here on out. Just stay positive and focus on what's ahead of you.
浅井くんにそう言われると、なんか元気出るな。
Redness floated to Tsubaki's face, almost like she had a fever. Well then, let's go.
待って、
Suddenly Tsubaki tilted her head.
浅井くんって。
Hmm?
ごめん。なんだかね、そういう話し方する時の浅井くんって、ちょっと違うなって思ったの。
You're right. I'm different when I'm at school.
そうじゃなくて、なんだろう。
Unexpectedly, she flashed a smile.
犯人みたいな喋り方だなって思ったの。ごめんね。
Okay. I laughed along with her. You think I'm Mao, too. Don't go joining Usami's ranks now.
え、はるちゃんに疑われてるの？ひどいな。浅井くんが犯人なわけないのにね。
Yeah, Usami really gives me a headache.
気にしたらダメだよ。私は信じてるからね。浅井くんがいなかったら、ひろあきも帰ってこなかったかもしれないんだし。
I didn't do anything at all incredible. Anyway, it's time that we get going.
そうだね。寒いしね。
With matching smiles, we left Tsubaki's home. Are you happy with it?
化粧品なんて初めて買ったよ。
Now you're one step closer to the other girls in our class.
みんなやってるもんね。
Don't get me wrong, I'm not one for heavy makeup either, but I would have at least expected you to cover up the dark circles under your eyes. What? So disrespectful.
ごめんね、そういうの疎くて。
You gave her those dark circles in the first place. Oh my god, oh my god. We walked away from the crowd.
あ、ごめん、電話。
Tsubaki's newly bought cell gets a call pretty often.
うん。わかんないよ。うん。
Covering her mouth with her hands and speaking in a low voice, Tsubaki seems very unhappy. What's up?
またうちからお母さんのバッグ知らないかって。そんなの私が知るわけないのに。まったく私がいないと何にもできないんだから。
Oh my god. Who are you and what did you do with the real Tsubaki? Are you going home?
うん、まだ平気だよ。
Tsubaki shook her head immediately.
おや、浅井さんじゃないですか？
Hearing Gusami's voice approach from behind, I turned around.
おやおや、椿も一緒ですか？これは。
はるちゃん、どうしたの？
Why am I bumping into you so much? Are you stalking me?
そんないきなり二人して質問してこなくても。自分はバイトの帰りにちょっと駅に寄ってただけです。
The station? Are you going somewhere?
いえいえ、証拠でもないかなと。
Evidence? This girl sure knows how to pique my interest, whether she knows she's doing it or not.
いえいえ、デート中に話すようなことでもありませんです。
浅井くん、行こ
Just a minute. Usami, have you figured out who the kidnapper is?
いいえ、全く。
She stated that without changing her expression in the least. Didn't you say that you had something to tell me yesterday?
言いましたっけ？
You...
なんか口走りましたね、自分。
Just come out and say it already. Usami spoke casually with a perfect poker face. Sorry.
はい、では言います。あなたが魔王です、浅井さん。
Alright, alright. She actually said it. Her words were utterly insane. The right side of my face stiffened.
あなたは前もって駅のコインロッカーの鍵を複製しておいたんです。
What did you say?
あの身代金をめぐる追走劇の中で、駅のコインロッカーに身代金が収められたことがありました。その時、私はあなたに不審な人物が来ないかどうか見張っておいてほしいと頼みましたね。
Ah, right. Wasn't Tsubaki running around the streets with the key? Usami nodded and continued.
あなたは前もって用意しておいたコインロッカーの鍵を使い、
Stop joking around. Copy the key? Me? When?
あなたは事件当日、仕事があると言って行方をくらましていましたよね。鍵の複製なんて、その辺のお店で30分もあればやってもらえます。
I have no memory of doing that.
いや、盲点をつかれました。トリックそのものは単純ですが、まさか信用していた浅井さんこそが犯人だったなんて。
I could say nothing against that. Oh my god, Tsubaki's gonna... She's gonna lose her shit. Oh god. Even though I'm definitely not the culprit, I couldn't think of anything at the moment to check Usami's logic.
はるちゃん、もういいよ。事件のことはもうはるちゃんには関係ないでしょ。
Looks like Tsubaki is still on my
なん
side.
かやだよ、はるちゃん。いろいろ手伝ってくれたのはわかるけど、結局はるちゃんは何も解決してくれなかったじゃない？
Usami's poker face still stood strong.
せっかくこうして嫌なことを忘れようとして遊んでるのに。
Exactly, let's get out of here. I urged Tsubaki while shaking my head slightly. I'm feeling dizzy. Hey, Usami, I'll forget about what you said just
そう
now.
っすか。ありがとうございます。では最後に一つだけ。
はるちゃん、
もし私の言ったことに心当たりがあるのなら、すぐに自首してください。警察はすぐに証拠を挙げるでしょう。近場の鍵屋さんを徹底的に洗うでしょうし、駅には監視カメラもあるんです。
Those police you mentioned, have they even made a move yet?
ええ。ですから、残念で仕方がないんです。
Then there's nothing to discuss here. I took Tsubaki's hand.
じゃあね、はるちゃん。
Usami nodded slightly and left.
気にしないでね、浅井くん。
Ah, Usami hasn't given it up yet. Still, as long as the police aren't informed, everything will be fine. What exactly will be fine? I pondered this thought deeply. Nah, I'm overthinking things. I just don't want the police to find out about the connections between the Azai Corporation and the Soa Alliance. I can possibly be Maou. Actually, that reminds me, I haven't got to Dr. Akimoto's clinic lately.
どうしたの？大丈夫。私はたとえ浅井くんが魔王でもいいよ。
Excuse me, am I so tired that I've slipped into a nightmare here? What's happening? Okay. That was probably a joke, but I can bring myself to laugh.
さ、ご飯食べに行こう。
I feel like that should have been a very serious statement. Like, you don't joke around with that. She held out her hand again. Tsubaki is very obedient to me. I should shake all of this off and just try to enjoy being with her.
すっごい楽しかった。
She held out her arms and stretched lazily. The Tsubaki from before definitely wouldn't do something like this. We were out for an entire day. Are you satisfied?
ご飯も美味しかった。
Isn't it wonderful to have money? Tsubaki nodded grandly. Except she is not in a position to have money to spend willy-nilly like this, but okay.
なんか見聞が広がるよね。今までそういうの興味なかったけど、お金ってとっても大事だね。
Depending on how you use it, money can buy you anything.
どんなものでも？例えば？
Oh god, here we go. Like your heart. I said this half joking.
やだな。それにはお金なんていらないよ。
Ah, sorry, that was just a bad joke. I guess I have a reputation for putting my foot in my mouth. We laughed and chatted in the empty park for quite some time. It was kind of fun. If I were a normal human and we continued to do stuff like this, I might actually fall in love with Tsubaki. But beyond the fun, there's an air of sadness hanging around us. I'm always reluctant to part with her for some reason.
ねえ、浅井くん。明日は？
Oh, are you inviting me again?
ダメかな。
I'm busy tomorrow.
浅井くんってお父さんのお仕事を手伝ってるんだよね。それで忙しいんだよね。どんな仕事なのかな？
Tsubaki assailed me with non-stop questions. Are you interested? I thought it over for a while. Like any business, my work could be facilitated by various things. One of those is a secretary, though I guess that makes me sound a bit self-important. I just want an assistant or something. I could use someone to help with some small odd jobs such as organizing my files or dealing with the bills and email. It can be someone from the Azai Corporation. Even if they're capable, they won't obey me. The loyalty they've sworn to is to Gonzo, not me. In the near future, I'll need my own organization. Okay, Mr. Hotshot. From that perspective, Tsubaki is a perfect start. Oh lord. Women are generally kept on the down low in the underground, but they still have their uses. Do you want to try and work with me a little tomorrow?
どういう意味？
I want you to help me for a bit. A confused look surfaced on Tsubaki's face.
私なんかでいいのかな？
Definitely. Don't worry about it. You're an honest hard worker. You'll be fine.
本当？嬉しいな。でも、びっくりだな。
Her breaths, coming out in excited gasps, were dyed white by the cold. Of course, you can't tell anyone. Tsubaki's eyes shone with excitement, earnestly listening to my every word.
絶対言わないよ。約束するよ。
Then I'll contact you tomorrow.
必ず出るようにするよ。
You definitely better. Tsubaki's expression tightened when I emphasized my expectations. I'm going to take a day off from school tomorrow, but you'll still be attending. Can you take calls when classes are in session? She seems to be uneasy. You know how I'm often absent from school? Sometimes I get splitting headaches and have to stay in bed, but most of the time it's because of the company.
会社？お仕事のことだね。
Do you understand? To me, school is a place of relaxation. I lied when I said I was just helping out my father. The truth is, the company is my main occupation.
知らなかった。すごい人だなって思ってたけど、そうなんだ。
So, if a call comes, be sure to take it immediately. That's how the business world works. I stepped closer to her. Can you promise me this much? Tsubaki held her breath.
悪いことしてるわけじゃないよね。
If you have to ask this question, what do you think the answer is? Of course not. It's not like we're doing anything illegal. There's nothing to worry about. Sometimes we'll step into a gray area bordering on criminal activity, but she doesn't need to know that right now. Alright. Hesitation. But since we've made it this far, I can let her escape. This is the first time I've told anyone about this. You're the first to know, Tsubaki. Oh, what an honor. I started with a small voice and slowly. I'm only a kid after all. No one would believe that I'm doing an adult's job, and no one understands how hard it is for me. I slowly accelerated and inserted emotion. But you're different, Tsubaki. Fate, acting through that kidnapping tragedy, has allowed us to understand each other so well. We have such a good relationship and, well, I increased my volume. These past few days have been so amazing. To be honest, I've never trusted anyone. But for some reason, it's so easy to tell you the truth. You're the only one I can tell my secrets, Tsubaki. I made sure to keep saying her name. Tsubaki's eyes were wide open, as breath after breath rushed from her lips.
そんな風に思われてるなんて。わかった。私も明日学園休んで電話待ってる。
That's a good girl. The work isn't particularly pressing. The issue is whether or not she can properly follow my directions. Well then, see you tomorrow.
おやすみ。
Yeah. We waved goodbye. I turned my head around only to see that Tsubaki was still frozen in place. And then a small shadow appeared.
お姉ち
It was her brother.
ひろあき？何してるの？
ゃんお姉ちゃん迎えに来たんだよ
I watched their conversation from afar.
まさか、また一人で？
お父さんももうすぐ来るよ
どうしてお父さんと一緒に来ないの？
Yeah, this kid is just... Tsubaki screamed again, this time with all her strength.
お姉ちゃん言ったよね。もう一人で勝手に出歩いちゃダメだって。
ごめんでもお姉ちゃん帰ってくるって言って帰ってこなかったから
Tsubaki must have told her family when she'd be back during one of her frequent phone calls.
だから何回同じこと言わせるの？
Tsubaki stooped down, continuing to talk with her brother. It must be really difficult to take care of that boy. It's not like I don't understand how Tsubaki feels.
いい加減にして。
I mean, this is not gonna help. Yelling will not accomplish anything, but okay.
何が
On a rural evening, sound travels far, and I can hear even very small voices.
心配してるの。ひろあきがまた同じ目に遭うんじゃないかって。どうしてわからないかな？
大丈夫だよ僕は大丈夫だって一人で保育園から帰ってこれるよ一人で お姉ちゃん迎えに来たよ。
Tsubaki's quiet voice is echoing around. It's not good to eavesdrop. I should get going. It's not like I don't care, but I can't do anything about others' family affairs. No, you can't do anything other than meddle and completely destroy their lives, but sure. As I left, I heard Tsubaki say something.
そう。なら、もう私も気にしないから。
That line brought with it the darkest and most depressed tone I had heard yet from Tsubaki. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus Lord. Oh my gosh. Alright. POV mode again. The weather had been rather unstable recently. Sometimes it would snow from nightfall straight through to dawn. Yet as time pushed forward, the asphalt pavement dried, leaving Tsubaki nothing but inconsistent blurred traces of white by the time she awakened. Tsubaki ignored her racing heart and stood as still as a street lamp, gazing at the familiar home her family was about to leave. The ants patrolled in squadrons near her feet. A black cloud of them gathered around the moth's broken wing and moved it to the colony in the garden. Perhaps the decaying innocence within Tsubaki's heart also served as valuable food in preparation for the upcoming spring. That's a bit grim. The overwhelming kidnapping, her responsibility to her family, and her feelings for Kyosuke might all be guiding her to a nest that most suited her true self. Hiroaki walked out the door. He closed in on Tsubaki like a puppy.
じゃあ出発?
He made a fist, bent down, and then jumped with excitement. He looked up at Tsubaki with a bright, floral smile. Her brother's every move was dear to her. She'll take Hiroaki to kindergarten, then head to school. This was her daily routine. If Hiroaki begged for a snack halfway, she would stop by a convenience store. If he wanted to play, she'd comply as long as time allowed. He was a child, after all. As his big sister, it's only natural for her to indulge him. But today was different. Tsubaki wouldn't go to school. Instead, she'll wait for Kyosuke to contact her. Depending on the schedule Kyosuke set out for her, she might not even go to pick up Hiroaki. She continued to hold onto her brother's hand. His chubby little arms were quite soft under her fingers.
姉ちゃんの手プニプニしてるよね。
太ってるっていうの?
Oh my god. How do you go there? Her tone suddenly grew strict.
ヒロアキだってプクプクしてるよ。お菓子の食べ過ぎじゃない?
うん、お姉ちゃんと一緒だね。僕お父さんに椿にそっくりだって言われるよ。
そっくり。
Her brother's innocent smile made Tsubaki a touch uneasy. It was as if she'd seen that exact smile elsewhere, as if she'd seen it a sickening number of times within the polished glass of the mirror every day of her life. Why? What was it about her brother that bothered her?
行くよ。
As a twisted emotion gathered in her chest and ran down to her gut, she noticed that she was dripping with sweat. Kyosuke must be an early riser. His call came a few short moments after 7 o'clock. After glancing at her brother as he hummed beside her, she took the cell phone in her hands.
早いね、浅井くん。
Does that inconvenience you? An inquisitional tone came from the other end of the line. Though Kyosuke's tone changed often, there was a critical difference between this and the boy she'd become accustomed to at school. Tsubaki responded as if intimidated by his mannerisms.
大丈夫だよ。今から行けばいい?
Are you outside right now?
うん。
Shall I infer that this means you're escorting a sibling to kindergarten? Tsubaki panicked when he pinpointed the situation right away. Come quickly.
今すぐ?
Right now. An alarm rang in Tsubaki's heart. She hadn't experienced such anxiety since her last meeting with Maou. She had neither the courage nor even the intent to defy
わ
him.
かった。急いで行くから待ってて。
Tsubaki's answer seemed to have satisfied Kyosuke. He thanked her and hung up.
姉ちゃん、何？
Kids are really good at reading people's feelings, she thought. The words Tsubaki wanted to say were stuck in her throat. Still, Tsubaki could only relax if she let the desires she'd only recently formed to guide her. It's nothing strange for a girl her age to be happier with friends and family.
ひろあき、一人で行ける？
Her brother had been kidnapped once.
行けるよね。昨日、一人で大丈夫だって言ってたもんね。
After learning of her brother's kidnapping, Tsubaki had burst into tears. She could do nothing but cry and shout, "It's all because I was late picking him up."
お姉ちゃん、ちょっと大事な用事があるから、ここでバイバイだよ。
Burying the perplexed emotions deep in her heart, she left her old self behind. Was it really such a cruel thing to do, abandoning her brother to help the man she loves work? I mean, how does this question even sound? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh. While it did come with the added cost of skipping school, it was nothing as severe as breaking the law, nor was it an act atrocious enough to earn the contempt of others. It was merely taking a risk. Tsubaki, who always worried about such trivial things, suddenly noticed how insignificant she was. She couldn't help getting angry.
帰りは迎えに来るから。
Her brother knew nothing about Tsubaki's feelings and tilted his head.
終わるのお昼だよ。お姉ちゃん学校でしょ？
Tsubaki broke out in a sweat once more after being stared into by Hiroaki's innocent
お
pupils.
姉ちゃんも終わるのお昼だから。
Being put on the spot, she lied without thinking. In the end, Tsubaki still promised to pick up her brother, but this may have been purely a function of remorse or guilt. She's not gonna pick him up. She's gonna be running around, doing some errand of sorts.
じゃあこの公園で待ってるね。関係にして遊ぼう。うん。
She's just gonna let him wait in the park alone by himself. I bet that's what it's gonna be. She averted her eyes. Afterwards, she silently made her way to Kyosuke's house. The crowded train to Central Boulevard gave her the impression that everyone was watching her, leaving her unsettled all the while. Yeah, when you're feeling like you're doing something that's not quite right, you have this impression that, like, people are looking at you, judging you for the thing. Yeah. Ah, dear Lord. I led Tsubaki to my room. When I met her at the station, she bore a grim-shadowed alien expression. So you really showed up.
お邪魔します。
Is this your first time here?
二度目だよ。
What do you mean? He doesn't remember? Ah, that's right. Are you feeling alright? I apologize for calling you over all of a sudden. Tsubaki weakly shook her head, indicating there was no problem. He forgot again, yeah. Is something troubling you?
なんで？
It's written all over your face. I laughed. Your relationship with your family hasn't been smooth lately, huh?
やっぱりわかる？
She looked embarrassed, like a child caught red-handed. Don't you think you've been a bit too easy on them in the past?
構いすぎたっていうこと？
I know it's difficult to manage a big family, but isn't it enough to just do what needs to be done? You brought your brothers to kindergarten before you arrived here, didn't you? What? You didn't? Tsubaki only replied with a quiet nod. She seems to have allocated my directions as the top priority. She rushed here after leaving her
学
brother.
園もサボっちゃったね。
Do you feel bad about it? You'll get used to it soon enough.
うん。慣れていいものなのかな。
Whether it's a problem or not is something a person should generally decide for oneself. But we don't have the time to waste over trivial things like that, so long as she's going to be following my directions. The old Tsubaki, the straight-laced and honest girl, would be of questionable use to me. I was hoping for a relationship on par with those between cult leaders and their followers. Okay. No matter how ridiculous and inhumane the leader's commands become, the followers will always take them as the gospel from God and obey. It's still a better love story than Twilight. Oh god. Oh, this is so fucked up. Does Tsubaki have the potential to become the zealous believer that I wish for? Hey Tsubaki, aren't you interested in the reason I'm working like this? Tsubaki snapped her head in surprise after suddenly being asked a question. I decided to blow my cover and reveal everything. Oh, sorry. I might be living a luxurious life right now, but there was a time when I lived in absolute poverty. She sighed as her eyes betrayed her shock. I remember reading a random query on anthropology that knowing about someone's past leads you to sympathize with them. I need to close the gap between Tsubaki and me. It started around the beginning of middle school. Prior to my enrollment there, I had a happy family. After a certain occurrence, though, everything began to change. This reminds me of someone. Doesn't this remind you of someone? It's basically what Eiichi is trying to do, but like at a whole different level. God damn. I know I'm the one who brought it up and everything, but please don't ask about that. It's the source of many a headache. Yeah, let's leave it vague. There was just an occurrence. It was so tragic. I slowly refreshed my memories. Even if I told you, you might not believe me. I recalled my past. I slowly opened the closed book to page 1. Every time I look back, the same scenery appears before my eyes. Samejima Kyosuke, an anxious child, alone in a dark room. It was a nameless village in Hokkaido. My mom and I lived in a shack adjacent to the cattle fodder and hay storage of a small farm. When winter reached our home, the temperatures dropped below 0. Our windows weren't double-layered. The flooring reeked of cow feces, and centipedes fought spiders over hairs and a few scattered rice grains. To my surprise, cockroaches managed to survive there too, so far up north. Yeah, cockroaches survive anything. My father destroyed my home. Yes, you may have heard me say Papa before, but when I do so I'm referring to my foster father. He adopted me sometime later due to certain circumstances that we will not disclose. In any case, my real father was already gone by the time of this story. He wasn't missing or dead or anything, but he owed the mafia a lot of money. Thus, my mom and I had to constantly keep moving, and in the end we settled down in what was essentially a literal pigsty. A distant relative lent us the place. His name was Kannu, or something like that. Apparently it carries some sort of discriminatory nuance in that region, but I'm not sure. It's an odd detail to include, but okay. Kannu gave us a place to stay when we had nowhere else to go. But he was a real son of a bitch with a criminal record to prove it. He might have been doing some day labor, but he would sometimes harass my mom by flaunting his earnings. Okay. My mom had a few random jobs too, but the village provided few employment opportunities for outsiders. As a result, we could only obey Kannu's every whim. The biggest problem was kerosene. The price for kerosene in farming villages is unbelievably high, and when it's cold enough to make your nose run, an empty oil can is practically a death sentence. Though Mom often made fuel for the heater her top priority, the lack of resources grew more dire each day. We lit that old heater once a day, and that would guarantee us an hour or two of warmth. My mother and I always took that opportunity to wrap ourselves up in sheets and talk about anything and everything. If only we had more money, that's what I always said. I begged for a job as a paper delivery boy, but Mom didn't permit it. She was worried that my body couldn't withstand the cold. She said that walking in the snowy mountains to deliver newspapers would be too harsh for a child. Yet still, our fuel stockpiles were waning by the day. I think a snowstorm forced the whole village into a shortage. Only 1 hour was left of the heartwarming 2 hours each day. My school was small, with no more than 50 kids total. I pleaded with them, every single one, to share what they could. In the end, they passed me off as a beggar and provided nothing. They said, "You must be wasting oil all the time, that's why you don't have enough." They didn't share a drop. We never wasted anything, but then I thought that maybe everyone else was in the same situation as we were, but were patiently enduring it. I returned home feeling a bit bad about what I had done. But after thinking about it, it did seem a bit strange. Our fuel was being used up faster than we were consuming it. I even began to suspect my own mother of using the heater in my absence. Shortly thereafter, I met Kano in front of our shack. He became enraged when he saw me and started yelling desperately. "Who do you think is letting you live here?" The bastard was swinging a jar of kerosene back and forth. "I think he stole it from us." I questioned him. He was as muscular as a bear, and his face was always red, as if he were constantly intoxicated. Upon hearing our argument, the people living nearby gathered round. Kanu was a cunning man. He was good at keeping up facades and hiding his true self. He pretended to be a saint, helping some outside woman and her young son make ends meet. Thus, in the end, we were the ones in the wrong. Sometime later, I mentioned it to a school teacher. However, from that one conversation, I finally understood how the people in the village viewed my mother and I. Working at a bar on the outskirts of the village seemed to have earned Mom a bad reputation. Come on, it was just a bar. It's not like she was a prostitute. Still, the people in the village used the Hokkaido farming village dialect to humiliate my mom, as if she were one. I used this chance and begged my mother to leave the village with me, but she was too exhausted. She's a kind woman, but she was just too exhausted and there was nowhere to go, so there was really nothing we could have done. And then one day, our heaters suddenly began having enough oil to burn through the whole night. Kanu's attitude changed too. He bought stuff for me, trying to win me over. He stopped calling me a brat, and sometimes the three of us had dinner together. As a kid, I never wondered why a hypocrite like Kanu suddenly decided to help us. And then I saw why. I saw the sight of a woman lying hog-tied, screaming. In my very home, no less. Maybe I shouldn't have taken the day off due to illness. The thick smell of alcohol was nearly suffocating. A 1-liter beer bottle laid upturned on the floor. The bear of a man had just finished drinking, and he didn't even try to hide his naked lower body. He just stared at me. I still remember those foul yellow eyes that faced like rock, those hard pulsating muscles. Kanu's strong body, trained by years of manual labor, scared me to death. I was overwhelmed. He beat me that night until I thought my stomach would fly out. He kicked me until my back was breaking. Mom protected me, crying non-stop. The son of a bitch just screamed a few curses at her and yanked her by the hair. He approached her, his breath saturated with the cloying scent of alcohol, all the while staring at me with glaring eyes. Okay. Is this his internal monologue, or who would be saying this? Kyosuke, you can't take this, can you? Why can't you take this? Can you take this? It's all your fault. It's all because you don't have money. The fucker never stopped talking. Ah, okay. It was him telling... Okay. It was the guy telling him that. Okay. He reminded us that he was the real owner of our filthy pigsty. Get out if you don't like it, you animals. He proudly stated that he was free to treat his livestock as he pleased. If you animals don't want to accept this, you can get to work. So Kyosuke, can you feed your mother? Can you rent a house? Can you go to school? Can you make a living? Mom bowed down and apologized. She said it was our fault. She pretended to be strong. Told me she was okay, and then demanded that I apologize immediately to that son of a bitch. I obeyed my mother. Well, alright. Tsubaki's shoulders shivered, like she was struck by lightning, as she stood silent. That was a long story. What do you think? Trauma dumping much? Tsubaki frowned and mumbled.
ひどい人だなって。お母さんがとても不憫で。
I think I just wasted my breath. That's not what I meant. That asshole was trash and my mother was unfortunate, yes, true enough, but what I want to say is, Tsubaki. I paused for a moment before continuing. Oh god. What is it? Back then, if I had only a fraction of the money I have now.
いや、でも、浅井くんは中学生だったんでしょ?
Exactly. Take a good look at Central Boulevard. There are people who are obviously elementary school students claiming to be high school students in order to sell accessories or tickets, right?
それは、ここは大きな町だから。
Anyway, I didn't have any money. My luck might be rotten. But what do you expect? No goddess of luck would shine on someone who couldn't pay the fee. Suddenly Tsubaki seemed to have thought of something and said,
うちは大丈夫かな?
I think their situation is quite severe. Have you noticed your dad being sort of grim lately?
全然楽観してるのかな?
I don't know, but just in case, I'd like you to take what I said to heart.
私が家族を支えなきゃ。みんな私に甘えてるところあるから。
I'll compensate you for your work if you decide to help me. It won't be much, but I think you'll find the pay is a lot better than a part-time job. I smiled and the tension left Tsubaki's face.
頑張るよ。浅井くんの話聞いて、ちょっと家族とももう一度向き合ってみる。
What do you mean?
ほとんどひろあきのことなんだけどね。
I think he's spoiled compared to the average child.
その通りだよ。私が甘やかしてたんだと思う。
You could be doing him a disservice, you know. He'll only be worse off for it as an adult.
保育園の先生にも同じようなこと言われたよ。
Then I'll go ahead and tell you the rest. To be honest, I've seen some things I didn't really approve of in your dealings with him. I crossed my arms in front of my chest and continued. Why don't you scold him? I think it would be for the best if you got seriously angry once in a while. Sure, because that's gonna help so much.
最近はちょっと叱るようにしてるんだよ。
The time when he ran out of the house at night without permission? I lightly sighed. That was more like Tsubaki screaming hysterically than a proper scolding. Wouldn't it be better if you put more feeling into it?
そうかな。どうすればいい?
Are you seriously asking that?
私、あんまり誰かに怒ったことないから、それを相手にどう伝えていいかわからなくて。
Isn't it okay to just let your feelings guide you? Take out all your anger, and even a child would understand how you feel. What am I reading? Oh god. Tsubaki's pupils were overcome by a strange
やっ
glow.
てみるよ。
She gave me a straight stare.
今度また勝手に外に出歩いてたら、
You what?
その時は。
That sentence seemed to be to herself as much as to me. We've chatted for a long time now.
じゃあ何からすればいいのかな?
Do you know how to use a computer?
インターネットくらいなら。
Good, then have a look at the data over there first. I pointed at a pile of paper on the table. It's a list of buildings managed by the Sowa Alliance. Facility management is broad and complicated, but the Azai Corporation's capabilities are widely recognized.
これ全部 ?500 枚くらいあるよ。
What you're doing is very simple. Go through the list and pull out any files that include supplementary facilities.
付帯設備?
For example, swimming pools, parking lots, or sports grounds. After you pick them out, input their names and phone numbers into the computer.
結構かかりそうだね。
You should be done by dusk.
夕方。
It seems that she had something to say. Ha 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 ha. I told you, she's not gonna go pick him up after lunch. But stopped for some reason. What, did you have any prior engagements?
平気だよ。
I'll be in the room right there. Just call me if you have any questions. Tsubaki started organizing the documents right away. Okay. Sorry. Save is what I want to do. Let's leave it here for tonight. Oh my goodness. Where is this going? I don't know if I want to know. Yeah. Okay. I guess we will find out. Also, the chapter is much longer than I expected it to be. Are the others going to be similarly in length? Where are we? Here. It will be resolved next time. Okay. All right. But yeah, are the other chapters, do they have the same amount of length? Do they go in as much detail about the girls? Because I feel like we're dedicating a lot of time to Tsubaki, and for instance, Kanon had a little bit, but not as much. So I wonder. Also, Shiratori barely makes an appearance, which saddens me because I wanted to know more about her. But yeah. I guess we'll get there and we will see in due time. Thanks for the parenting tips. I don't know if they are parenting tips. It's just this feels so wrong to me. If you don't explain it, like the child is not gonna miraculously figure it out by themselves. And if you go to the other extreme and are just angry and yell at them and stuff and go all Rosa mode, all the child is gonna know is that they did something that put you into that mode, but they're not gonna understand why. So they're gonna be scared of you, but not learn anything from the experience. And it just results in trauma or, you know, other stuff like that. They might be of similar length. This one definitely seems longer because it's very tiring. It is so exhausting. It is. It's very sad to see Tsubaki going down this this road, but yeah. Yeah, I suppose there isn't much we can do about it other than just witness it and see how far it goes before she manages to snap back, hopefully. Hopefully. You're excited for next time? Okay. I am frightened now that you said that. Oh god. Okay. Okay. Then we'll find out on Thursday how that's gonna go. Alright. Okay. Thank you for joining. This has been so exhausting. But yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. The whole Haru suddenly accusing him of being Mao was not something that I expected. I'm curious where she's gonna take that. I would assume that she won't just give it up. So yeah, I'm curious about that too. Then we will see next time. Thank you for the pets. Pets back to everyone. Thanks again for joining. I'm a bit out of it and a bit tired, so sorry about that. But yeah, let's continue on Thursday, and I will do my best to be a bit more lucid and take in what's going to happen, since it seems it's gonna be the one. It's gonna be the one. Yeah. Until then, night night. Take care of yourselves. Love you. Bye bye.